It's 11 p.m. You said one small thing. Your partner said one small thing back. Now you're both standing in the kitchen, voices raised over something that started as nothing. But the real reason has almost nothing to do with what you were arguing about. It has to do with the hour on the clock. Your brain runs on a battery. Every decision you make today drains it a little more. Psychologist Roy Baumeister spent decades studying this pattern, and he called it ego depletion. Choosing what to eat, holding your tongue in a meeting, sitting in traffic without losing it. Each one costs you a small amount of self-control. And self-control is exactly what keeps small disagreements from turning into big ones. By nightfall, that battery is nearly empty. You have less patience at 10 p.m. than you did at 10 a.m. Not because your relationship got worse over the course of the day, because your capacity to regulate your own reactions did. Here's where it gets stranger. Your brain isn't just tired. It's also less equipped to read the situation accurately. Sleep researcher Matthew Walker has shown that when you're underslept or approaching the end of a long day, activity in your amygdala spikes. The amygdala is the part of your brain that detects threat. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part that keeps that threat response in check, goes quiet. So a neutral comment starts to feel like an attack. A tired sigh starts to feel like judgment. You're not misreading your partner on purpose. Your brain is handing you a distorted picture and telling you it's accurate. Why would evolution build a brain this fragile at night? For most of human history, night wasn't a time to relax. It was the most dangerous part of the day. No electric light, no locked doors. Predators moved under cover of darkness. And so did rival groups. Your ancestors who survived were the ones whose nervous systems stayed alert as the sun went down, scanning for threat instead of settling into calm. That hypervigilance kept them alive. You inherited that same wiring. Except now, there are no predators in the dark. Just a partner, a couch, and an unfinished conversation about who forgot to text back. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference. It still ramps up as the light fades. It still primes you to detect danger. And when the closest available target is the person next to you, that ancient alarm system gets pointed at the wrong thing entirely. There's a third piece to this, and it might be the most surprising. Neuroscientist Eddie Ben-Simon ran a study looking at sleep deprivation and social connection. She found that people who were even mildly sleep-deprived felt more isolated from others and were rated by strangers as less socially desirable to be around. Poor sleep didn't just make people tired, it made them feel disconnected, and it made others pull away from them too. A single bad night was enough to start that cycle. Now stack a full day of decisions on top of a full day of accumulating tiredness and put it right at the hour when your threat detection system is already running hot. That's not a coincidence. That's a setup. Think about the last argument you had that spiraled. Did it happen in the morning, right after you woke up? Or did it happen late, after a long day when you were both running on fumes? Most people can answer that immediately. It's not that nighttime reveals the truth about your relationship. It's that nighttime removes your ability to filter, soften, and regulate. The version of your partner you're angry at during a nighttime fight is not the clearest version of them. It's the version your depleted, threat-scanning brain is capable of seeing at that moment. This doesn't mean the issue you're arguing about isn't real. Sometimes it is. But the intensity, the sharpness, the feeling that this is the worst it's ever been, that part is largely manufactured by the hour. There's a simple test for this. Ask yourself if the conversation would sound as urgent at 9 the next morning, after sleep, after coffee, after your prefrontal cortex has come back online. Most of the time, the answer is no. The same words land differently in daylight, because you're a different brain in daylight. Some couples have learned to work with this instead of against it. They've noticed that certain topics never get resolved after dark, only inflamed. So they've made a quiet agreement. If it's late and it's heating up, they name it and they pause it. Not to avoid the conversation, just to have it with a working prefrontal cortex instead of a hijacked one. That single habit, waiting for morning, has ended more fights than any perfect choice of words ever could. Your ancestors needed a brain that got sharper toward threat as the light disappeared. You don't live in that world anymore. You live in a world with lamps and locks and phones that light up the ceiling at midnight. But the alarm system is still installed, still running, still convinced that the growing darkness means something is coming for you. Tonight, when the sun goes down and something small starts to feel unbearably large, remember what's actually happening. It's not that things are worse than they seem. It's that you're seeing them through a brain built for a different kind of night.